Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So as requested, today's video will be how I colour skin in Hannah Lynn. So I have got the Enchanted Faces book, the pocket-sized edition by Hannah Lynn, and I've selected a girl with, I've gone for a slightly larger face so you can see properly. It's this cute kind of winter scene, so I'm maybe a bit early, but it'll probably be winter by the time I finish it, so it shouldn't matter. And yeah, like everybody, I do struggle with skin, and the more I do it and the less I avoid it, the better I get. So unfortunately, I've had pages that I've worked on that haven't turned out wonderfully successfully, and you've just got to see it as the learning curve it is and move on. And like I say, I get better each time. The thing I have found that has made my life easier with this is obviously better pencils. Now, I'm not saying you have to have better pencils to be able to do skin. I'm saying I find it easier and less work with this set of pencils. So any pencils you want to use today is fine. Any page you want to colour today is fine. It's really kind of the way that I do it that you're seeing. Probably the closest to what I want to use today, which is the Caran D'ache Luminance. For the way that they react on the paper would be Prismacolor, and I know a lot of people do like Prismacolor for skin. They're that kind of softer, technical term, more smushier leads to them than like a harder oil-based pencil. So yeah, we'll go through the colours I've got picked from the Luminance set, and I have the sepia 407, so you want a really dark kind of neutral brown. Then I have the burnt sienna 069, that's kind of a mid-toned, quite a reddish brown. From there I've picked out this pink mainly for the cheek colour, is why I've added this. So we've got 571 anthraquinoid pink, and you want kind of that sort of bubblegum fun pink. So we'll set that to one side, that's for cheeks. From there I have 068 herculanum red, and it's actually quite a pale candy pink. That will be for my undertone, along with this 836 brown ochre, along with this 872 burnt ochre 10%. That's more of a beigey colour. And then this 836 brown ochre 50%, and this is more of a light yellowish brown. And then for highlight and blending, 801 buff titanium, and it's just kind of an off-white, but a white will do. So it doesn't matter which sets you want to use, you know, which paper you want to use them on. This is Amazon paper, so I'm mixing easier pencils with difficult paper, so you could always do it the other way around if you like. And yeah, obviously different faces, different artists, you need to work on them differently. You have to go with what you've got. It's not grayscale, so we'll have to add our own shading and shadow work into the page. And Hannah Lynn tends to draw quite round, kind of buxomy looking, cute, chibi faces. So again, you know, you're not going to draw really angular lines into that. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go with what we've got, and you don't get noses, so it is of course up to you what you're going to do with that. Are you going to ignore it, make it a Jasmine Beckett and pretend it's not there, or are you going to draw that in, which can obviously add an element of difficulty to those like me that do not draw. There's a couple of different ways I tackle this, but lately I have been popping my undertone layer down and then my pencils work nicely on top. So I'm going to take that 068, the herculanum red, I don't know, whatever, herculanum red, 068 anyway. So you just that kind of light pinky tone, and I'm going to lay that very lightly all over that page. And we're just giving her skin the base colour that it's going to have. For the purpose of these videos, I work as quickly as I can. I would suggest you take your time a little bit. The beauty is you can pause me while you catch up. This is the white of her eyes, so don't colour that in, just kind of stop it where the black line ends. It doesn't matter that this layer will look grainy and that you can see lines. Try your best not to, but it's not the end of the world. We're going to lay layers on top of this. You won't see very much at all, especially on camera at this point. And she does have a little bit of neck just there. For those that do want to work on the same page, it's the one with the cute little owl. And she has the owl beanie hat on. We then have this kind of beige-ish colour, 872 burnt ochre 10%. I'm now going to lay that over the top. I'm also going to change the direction. So we're kind of cross-hatching with our layers. It will just fill in the tooth of the paper better. I'm getting pencil all over the eyelashes, but you can just either painstakingly go around them, or you can draw those back in later with a black pen. This is the point where obviously if your colour choices are a bit off, you could add, you know, if she's looking a bit orange, you can add some pink, more pink over the top. If she's looking too pink, you can add some more yellow, just to get that. I've gone for quite a neutral tone, so that's why I've got a bit of both. And that is my base. So then I very unconventionally go straight to my shadows. I'm going to pop my darkest shadows in sepia 407. We're going to go very light with this, and this is just the foundation of her face shape starting to take effect. So we're going to have a little bit of shadow in underneath this hat. And I'm laying this very lightly. We're going to have a little bit underneath her hair, because we can darken this up later, but it's more difficult to take it away. Shadow is not the same as contouring the face. Shadow is exactly that. It's the bits casting a shadow on the page. And then I'm going to pop a little bit down the side here. We're going to bring some of this dark brown into the folds of her eye there. Same this side. Right. Sides of her face. And we're going to really narrow that out as we get down to the chin. I tend to work evenly, so I'll do the sides of the face, and then, you know, each step I try and do both sides, just more likely to get an even image. Right, at this point we're working out that she, although looking at this owl, they're very confusing the way they're drawn, Hannah Lynn. She's technically facing this way, but they never look like that. But obviously, because her face is drawn pretty much exactly evenly, so there's two ways you can do it. You can leave it even, and like her eyes are just looking towards the owl, or you can overshade this side and undershade this side to make it appear her face is turning one way. I've just said that backwards, didn't I? I mean, overshade this side and undershade this side, so it looks like her head is turned that way, and you know, your light source is above. For the sake of the way she's drawn so evenly, I'm gonna colour her that way, because, well, I'm not super skilled, so it does add layers of intricacy that I don't want to deal with. So it's your picture, it's up to you. Obviously, if you want her facing one way or the other, you're going to have to compensate with your contour. So again, a bit wider in the top, narrowing that down into nothing for the chin. And then I want a little bit of darkness just underneath that eye line, not all the way to the end, just kind of the latter half of those. Again, very lightly, not much of anything at the minute. Not overly committed then, so you can change it as you go. And just because out of all mine, this does tend to be my scratchy pencil, just a little bit. So I'm always careful. And we've got that bit of shadow under the lip, give her some nice full lips there. And the shadow of the neck there. Okay, nose or not to nose. I suppose for the sake of showing you guys, we should. So we're going to turn, because I'm left-handed. Turn your page to where it's comfortable for you. I'm sorry for the wobble. So I turn mine, obviously, so that my arm sits to the left. A lot of people colour for stress relief, stress management, or, you know, to deal with, kind of take their mind off their pain. So it is actually, not a lot of people talk about this, but posture is important. Having your elbow resting on your table, not off the edge, all crooked and stuck in towards your side. Turn your page so your arms are at a comfortable position. Elbow on the table so that you're not floating. Wrist on the page. Something on your finger if you need it. A loose grip on your pencils, because you'll get finger strain. It's not good for your wrist or your hand. And you know, pull your chair inwards towards your desk and sit up. Don't hunch, don't bowl yourself in over your page. If you need to be that close to see, put your reading glasses on. They're obviously on top of your head. I do that. I forget what I'm doing. I might end up, I'm about here on my page, and all of a sudden think, why am I this close? What am I doing? So yeah, if you need to turn your page all the way sideways, do so. And as you work, don't work the way we do on film. Turn your page for the different angles. It's important, especially for some of us. You know, we get so into the hobby, you colour for hours, and over time you're going to cause some serious strains. So if you've no room for your elbow on your desk, move some of your stuff. move your mat up a little bit and angle it off to one side, and get your elbow on your table. And the other thing the elbow does is it actually decreases the chance that you're going to lean in towards your page, because it's kind of holding you upright a little bit. Right, so let's get back to what we were doing. I got sidetracked. I'm clearly avoiding this nose. So for the nose, basically I'm going to add, we're not going to be very realistic because they're not. I'm going to add a little bit of shape underneath. Give her a round button nose. So I'm literally popping a C shape on my page to start with. And then I'm going to pop a little, can't remember what it's called now, but you know what I mean, that little dip you've got under the lip. So you just kind of shade inwards from those edges and leave the top highlighted. And then we're going to, even more lightly now, I'm going to give her that completely round button nose. So really light in the top so you can barely see the top of that circle. And then I'm not going to draw a couple of lines upwards because that's the last thing you need to end up with. What I'm going to do is shade the side of the nose. So I'm now going to create a darker area down this side of the face. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing this side. Now, depending how long you make this shadow and how wide apart will be how long and how wide her nose is. So, up to you. So in the sakes of a cute little button nose, I'm going to bring that inwards. And we're very messy at this point. We're just starting to create the shapes. We get the shapes down on the page in a light enough colour that it, you know, well, a dark colour, but a light enough layer so that we can change and mess with it as we go, and it won't matter, especially in a blendable pencil. So that is the foundation for what I want to have. So I'm going to take my slightly less dark brown in a ready tone. This is my burnt sienna 069, and I'm not prepared, I need a bit of paper. I'm just going to take the short point off my pencil, so I've just scribbled that off. So I've got a little bit of a slant, so I'm not going to get little lines. And we're now, with a little bit more confidence, going to start to work with a little bit more colour and bring that a little bit further into the face. So now we've gone from the shadow layer to creating face shape. So we're still in all the shaded parts of her face for this. But we're now starting to give suggestions of the way the face would curve round. So we want a little bit where these eyes crease. And like I say, we're just larger areas now. We're going to add our shadows back in later. You always do that to get your depth, because they're going to disappear as we go, because we really did only put a fine layer down. This is very simple skin. There's no blue or violet tone or green tone going into this, mainly because I'm just not that advanced, to be honest. I'm working my way up, but also learning as I go up. So if you want something like that, there are many wonderful channels out there with amazing skin videos to them. Again, we're just now adding a bit of depth to that colour, and we're bringing it further in. A wider shape in the top, disappearing it out towards that chin. A bit under the eyes. Sam's on paper, careful of your layers. Right, we're gonna even that out on the other side. Down and in, thin that out towards the chin, and then widen that out for the sides of the face. Okay, again, a bit underneath those lips, bringing it down a little bit this time. Start to hint at a bit more shape now. A little bit under that neck. I'm not going to bother with any neck muscle or anything like that. It's a Hannah Lynn, it's not that detailed, and there's not enough neck to be messing around with stuff like that. I need it to actually matter. So, the nose. Again, we're going to come in from that little Cupid's bow. A little bit of shadow. And out from there. So you're essentially leaving a strip here and here just white. We're probably going to need a little bit of shadow just here. And I say shadow, I mean colour. At this point we're just face shape now. There we go. She should start to come to life a little bit. We're still in those early pale layers, so not anything crazy, but she should start to get a little bit of life now. Again, if you were expecting the most beautiful nose you've ever seen, you probably need another tutorial for that. We're now going to add some shape to this nose as well. Just colouring those sides. As always, you're fading that into nothing, so the other layers will either layer or blend on to them. It's even more important if you're using that oil pencils and your next layer is going to have to kind of sit over the top, and you don't want to see that line where one meets the next. You do get away with it a little bit more with these softer pencils. Right, again, we're going to pop some more colour into the sides of that nose. Even that out a little bit, fade it in. Okay, right, we're looking weird still, but you can sort of see her taking shape. Now what we're going to do is add a little bit of cheek contour. So I'm going to give her those big cheeks. I'm just going to bring a little bit of brown in and round underneath where the cheek would be. So I'm kind of giving it a circle, almost even with the lip, fading it to a point, and you'll sort of see that we've just got this shape going on now. I'm going to try and do the same thing. This is the real challenge, isn't it, really? One even face probably not coming up, because now you want to be the same sort of line, so you're about here. To give kind of that. You can at this stage very lightly join it into the shadow of the nose. It's not gonna do any harm. A lot of the time helps it look more even. Okay, right. Phew. So far we're doing okay. I'm gonna go back to my darker colour. I'm going to re-emphasise some of these shadows in the edges. Let's build that up a little bit. We're getting a bit more confident now. We know our shape, we know where things are laying. We can now just start darkening up and committing to our colours. You've done the hard bit. You've essentially drawn a face, something I said I'd never do. But now I do noses apparently. See, we all get better as we go. I know this isn't amazing, but you want to see the first couple of attempts of skin that I made. Back in with that mid-tone brown, that 069, and again just building up what we've already laid down. I want enough colour down now so that when I add my lighter colours in, it's not just going to all disappear. She'll look very muddy, very messy at this point. Okay, we're going to take our deeper yellow-brown tone, this ochre brown 50% 836. I'm going to have my pink on standby and my beige as well, and we're now going to build that over the top of the colours we've laid. A little bit more pressure now, we're starting to blend things together. And bring that a tiny bit further in than the other colours, but not by much. I'm now going to kind of turn that into one colour. Well, we're blending This is the difference between blending and layering. These colours will now melt together. To really keep that shape, so we're working in a circular motion. Finish that neck off because there's not really going to be any lighter tone in that for me. That noise, there's nothing smooth about this paper. By blending this in and kind of, you know, we're not burnishing, you don't want to do that, but we are building these layers up a bit more. You're kind of locking those darker colours into place. You're also muting them a little bit and kind of moulding things together at this point. So we really need this nose shape to be smooth at this point. I have to turn my page. Now a lot of people, they get a couple of elements down on their page and they start to panic because stuff doesn't look right. To be honest, no matter how beautiful, and this is not what mine's going to be, but no matter how beautiful your skin might look, sat in an empty white and black page, it's not going to look right. Don't assume you hate it, assume it's wrong and start messing with it until you've got everything down. Her hair's done, the owl's done, the background's done, it's all finished. And then when you have a look, what you'll actually probably have hated about it before has just disappeared into the page. It's very difficult to like skin, especially if you're newer like I am, when it's the only thing you're staring at, because you'll see every little imperfection, every little bit that you got wrong kind of glaring out at you from the page. Right, there we go. So we've got some shape now. You know, by leaving these little apples here, you've got that kind of cute little chunky cheek shape built up underneath. By leaving this area white, that's kind of where our chin's going to be sat forward and give some shape. And obviously this area here is that kind of nose to brow. If you wanted one of those little set in noses, you would just ever so lightly shade here as well, and it will look make the bridge of the nose look like it disappears in. by leaving it all white, you give that kind of longer, more prominent nose kind of, more like mine. I have a proper nose, you can't miss it. Probably why I always draw that in for everybody else so they match. Right, we're going to take on a bit more of a pink tone now. I think that will be nice. So 068, this red that I can't say, that's actually rather a pale pink, and we're going to just reduce some of that kind of tanny brown that's going on, and yet again we're now going to pop that over very lightly. You don't want it to be bright pink, but it's all just refining shapes and tone at this point. Okay, I'm going to take my quite pale burnt ochre 10% 872. I'll be honest, I usually use a beige. Apparently don't have one here, so we're using this and hoping it's light enough, neutral enough colour. So this time I'm going to bring that almost all the way in. At this point I'm only leaving my highlights. There's two ways you can do this. You could take your white now, add a little bit just here, and I am burnishing this in, a little bit just there, oh, make sure it's clean, a little bit down the bridge of that nose, a little bit on the top of the button, a little bit in the middle of those cheeks, and a little bit just in a little C shape just here. And then from there it's easier because you can see where that is to then take your, you know, your essentially your main skin colour and just work that over everything and just kind of bringing it into where that titanium is, but not all the way over, and it'll work your highlight in for you. I tend to move into circles at this point because I'm now blending everything together. As always, as we get to that white, I'm just reducing the pressure, giving it a soft edge, letting one colour fade into the other. If you're looking a bit too pinky, you could buff that out with a bit of the white and just mould that edge together. Okay. Work our way in around. Overdid that. I'm gonna move that as much as I can. Pop some of that white back in there. blend her chin back in. Left a little cupid's bow there, and I'm just going to take my white. Now this is usually the point where you think, why the hell, if I'm just going to smudge it all in, did I spend all that time laying down all those colours in different layers? And it's just because it just gives different parts of the skin different colour, different tone, which immediately gives it different depth and shape. I mean, you could lay a marker base down on this, add some brown shading and be done, call it a day. It really is up to you. This really is the bit where there's just no way around spending a bit of time and usually some muscles and just really blending that in. There's lots of different blending mediums you can use. If you find you know you're not happy with how smooth the skin is, or you know you want it to move a bit better, from kind of zesty to alcohol blenders to what am I thinking of, pencil blenders. It's just not something I use. Prefer to just use my paler pencils and accept that kind of more grainy look, because, well, I think it looks more like skin, to be honest. I've never met a person who's super smooth that hasn't been photoshopped to the end of their life. So it just depends on how you prefer it to look, really. Okay, bear with me, I'm going sideways with this because I don't want to move that shadow around. I want it to stay there, but I do want it to blend in a little bit, so we'll go in the same way as the pencil that we laid down earlier, so we don't smudge it down our nose. Just going to work to blend this in a little bit now. I'm pretty sure we're about to have a visit. Oh. Yep. Obviously just checking we're not up to no good. We passed, he's off. Nope, he stopped. Oh, yeah, there's food happening. He's gone again. Can't compete with that. Okay. Right. So, we're going to blend our highlight back in. Not too much pressure because you will just end up with a bit of a mess at this point on this paper. It's kind of reaching the end of what you're going to get from it without starting to pull layers up and make a mess. What we need, you can see that nose starting to disappear into the face, so we're going to add some of that darker brown back in, just a little bit, just here. Little circles, just blend it in, and it's just going to add that bit of definition back in under that nose. Pop the lighter brown into it as well, just to smooth it in. And you'll see the difference all of a sudden. That nose just went poof, properly there, where we were disappearing before. So if you then want to add a couple of your details back in, you can do so. Just adding that darkness in again, we'll just put that depth back in, add that contrast that you've lost in the blend. Okay, last bit, we're going to take our pink, our 571 anthraquinoid pink, or whatever kind of bubblegum pink you've got, and with the Hannah Lynn I like to just pop it round the sides, so just here and down a little bit, almost around the edges of the cheeks. Real nice and pink. Well, we're not going to be shy about it. That is one. And then I just bring mine almost right up into the eye. And down and underneath that cheek a little bit. Really pink. Okay, so we're also going to just pop a little bit along the bridge of the nose. Just a little, don't go crazy, a little bit. You can hear that paper's done. That shiny squeaky noise where it's like, nope. It's that little bit of pink, and then I'm going to blend that back in again with my 872, that kind of beigey colour. Just to smooth that back in. Okay, so now we're going to take a proper look. We're going to have a little look from a distance. So we're going to stand up, and the thing is you know, I mean, you guys, like, let's zoom you out. So if we zoom out, so you're doing the same thing as me. Obviously, everything super close, it looks grainy and bitty and you can see every little imperfection. That is not how people look at your page. Nobody's looking from here. It's like when people are super critical of the makeup and then they've got the nose to the mirror. Nobody's looking at it like that. They're standing in front of you a few feet away. So have a little look from a sensible distance, and then the bits you're still noticing, blend in, smooth out, even out. Like for me, the main thing is this doesn't look very even, so I'm just gonna kind of work to even that nose shape in. That's better. So yeah, that is how I would tackle skin. If I turn a light off, because my lights do tend to wash out colour, you'll see that she's actually got a little bit more colour to her than it appeared on camera. So this is what I mean. In light of being truly transparent, like this, through the camera, at a distance, she looks very well done. That is how she actually looks. So some of my lines you can see a tiny little bit. It's not the smoothest blend in the absolute world. She's not totally even, and the Cupid's bow isn't quite sat as far in as it should be. That's if I'm being super critical of my page. If I'm just looking at that and thinking, oh, well done, Emma. Well done. We are getting better. I can be happy with this page. But if I'm going to sit there and be super critical, she could be better. She can always be better. And I'm sure my next one will be. But yeah, I just wanted to show that because I know so many people get frustrated because they see these pages through the camera lens and they look, well, way better than they do in real life, let's be honest. Because the picture looks smoother. Whereas the reality of it is, you know, they look generally the same way yours does. So I hope you found this useful and not too long-winded. Our new skin video wouldn't be a short one because, like I say, it's not really my forte. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Turn those notifications on because YouTube keep turning them back off again. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been in any way helpful. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments down below. I always reply. And if I didn't, YouTube ate your comment because we're having trouble with that at the minute. And I'm very sorry if that happens to you. And I'll see you in the next video.